Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry, I heard a loud bang there, and it was Stanley pulling down a book cover, bookcase. I'll deal with that later. I thought I was being robbed. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's time. We had a great time doing this last week, and we're back again this week. It's a lovely sunny day. Lubo, or as he's better known, at Lubo_61. How are you, sir?
All very good today, thanks.
Good.
All good. Looking forward to the show. Been looking forward all day, actually. We had such a good show last week that let's see if we can better it.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone out there wondering, I'll keep you updated on any football. Just so you know, there are 2 under-21 games going on at the moment. You've got the France under-21s, but don't worry, Tell and Odeba are on the bench today. So I was hoping we might get to see those two play. And in the World Club Cup, currently Fluminense 0, Dortmund 0. So there's games going on everywhere, and we fucking love the football. Lubo, just before we get some questions in, everybody get your questions in. I'll start saving them as we go along. Transfer window's open. 1,001 rumours going around about every club, and Spurs are no different. Apparently Vicario's going. Apparently Son's going. Apparently Romero's going. Apparently players are coming in. It's all heating up.
No one seems to be moving, though, are they? There's nothing actually. I've got a theory. You've got all these top centre forwards that are up for sale.
Yeah.
For big money. And as is often the case, you just need one to trigger loads and loads. You know, once one transfer goes through, money's going through the system, then the next one goes through, and then the next one. It's like a pile of dominoes, and they fall one after another. And I can see that happening. See that happening again. You know, at the moment it's still quiet. Listen, Frank's still on holiday. You know, you've got people like Eze. I think Eze is on holiday as well. So,
yeah.
You know, the players are away now. You know, people like Eze and England players played till last week. So they've all gone away on their holidays. So I just use him as the example because that's the one player that I'd love to see at Spurs.
I think everyone says that, don't they? And I think I can't see it happening, to be honest. I mean, am I negative, or can you see?
Why not?
See it happening?
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Sure, but why? Why?
Because evidently there's money there's more money this year than previous years. So who knows?
I hope so, mate. I absolutely hope so, Luma. By the way, I really do. By the way, everybody is sending me a WhatsApp right now of the Daniel Levy and Vinay Venkatesham video. I haven't had a chance to watch it. It was sent to me, and I fell asleep about half an hour ago and woke up like going, oh my God, I'm meant to be live. So I fell asleep in the garden again, and my face is going to go very brown if I keep falling asleep in the garden. Lubo, we'll get to some questions in a second. Before we do, the dust has settled a little bit now. Frank is here.
Yeah.
Angie's gone. Telly's in through the door, and I feel like it's just settled a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit of calm, just a little bit of calm.
Yeah. Listen, all the outstanding loan situations from last season have now been resolved.
Yeah.
Plus, they've also given Davis an extra year's contract. So if Wrexham do come in for him or someone else does, you know, we'll get a few quid for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now Frank's on holiday still. I don't think he's back till next week. So for me, I think from next week onwards, things probably start moving.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think this week, the calm before the storm, a lot of reports with maybe not a lot happening. I think with regards to the striker market, just before we get to the questions, I think it's going to be a domino effect, isn't it? I think once the first one moves, whether that's Gyökeres, Sesko, Ekitike, Osimhen, once one goes, I think you're going to start to see the dominoes fall. And Arsenal, unfortunately, are at the centre of that, aren't they? At the moment, it's very much which one are they going to get out of Sesko and Gyökeres, rather than will they get one at all. So I think we're going to...
At the moment, with Gyökeres, Juventus are in lead position. They're in pole position.
For Gyökeres?
Yep.
Juventus?
Nah.
They got no money. Where are they getting 70 million from?
They have. They're the only ones in Italy with money.
No, I can't see it.
I
can't see it. I just can't see it. I'll be honest. You know, when I was growing up, Juve were one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? The old lady were absolutely huge. I'd be gutted if a player like Gyökeres goes to Juventus. I'll be honest. I'll be a little bit gutted. I don't know why. I don't want him to go to Arsenal, by the way, but it will be.
No, sure.
I do want to see him go to a bigger club.
United were probably expecting 100 million for Fernandes from Saudi, but he turned that down, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's right. They were going to get 25 or 30 million from Chelsea for Jordan Sancho, and they got 5 million as a penalty because Sancho went back. So there's 125 million that they thought they'd be getting that they haven't got, and they've already spent 62.5 million on Cunha. So, and Ratcliffe's complaining that they haven't got money. They've got interest payments on the loans that the Glazers have taken to pay themselves dividends of about 30 million a year. So there's no Champions League football. There's no Europe next year either. So, United may not have as much money as people think they have.
I bet they find a way. I bet they bloody find a way. United just do, don't they? They just do. But just before we get cracking on, it does feel very much, though, that the main reports I'm seeing for Tottenham in the last few days, it very much feels like the Semenyo news is ramping up a bit. It seems to be that the Mbeumo news is slowly but surely going a bit quiet, and Semenyo appears to be the flavour of the month. I'd be very happy with Semenyo on our right-hand side. What says you?
For me, that'd be good. You'd also get a lot more out of Solanke.
Mm-hmm.
So that's right, correct. You gave him a cash injection. And with Mbeumo, United have offered 50 plus 5 add-ons, I think, and that's been rejected by Brentford. So that's where we're at with them at the moment. So I think Spurs have gone in with an offer of 60. And Mbeumo, I think his first choice is United because he's a United fan.
Yeah,
and that's where we sit at the moment. So nothing's happening. I hope it doesn't happen until Frank gets back from his holiday and he's able to talk to the player.
Yeah.
So
let's hope so. Let's hope so. For me, I think I would absolutely love it if next season we started with Semenyo on the right and Mbeumo on the left, sorry, the other way. Mbeumo on the right, Semenyo on the left, Maddison in the hole, and then someone like this young, he's 23, which is young, but is very young compared to me, but good age for a striker in terms of, Arnau Calamundo, who the more I watch, I just see Jermaine Defoe. The way he strikes the ball, the way he finishes, goes across the goalkeeper. I think that would be a great strike, a great front three for me.
Well, I mean, it's apart from wanting Gyökeres, and we're not going to get him.
Yeah.
We spoke a few weeks ago about Jonathan David.
Yeah.
He scored, 9 or 10 Champions League goals this season, just gone.
Yeah.
So proven, again, in a not so great side.
Yeah.
They'll, so wait and see.
Yeah, by the way, sorry, I just made that face because the Poland keeper's just had an absolute mare against France. Shot's gone into him. Oh, my, when someone's had a shot from 20 yards, it's bobbled in front of him. He's parried it, and the striker's just nicked in and headed it. Anyway, so the French under-21s are 1-0 up unless there's any offsides. Let's get going with some questions, shall we? And absolutely agree, Mo. If Daniel Levy pulls off Semenyo and Mbeumo, listen, Mo, for me, I just think both of them very strong, very powerful, direct runners. They get up and back. I saw as well, I don't know if any of you saw this, that Mbeumo attempted the most crosses or completed the most crosses in the Premier League last year. So, again, that's what you want. We want balls into the box. And last year, our wingers weren't offering those crosses. So, I definitely like to see that. And then you've got Maddison, you've got Kulu, you've got options. Let's have a look at the first question, shall we, Lubo? The first question. Marriott, big up to you out there in Cyprus, which I'm sure is a lovely sunny day today. France are 2-0 up in 2 minutes. Sorry, they've gone 2-0 up. Whoever that was scored that's a beautiful goal from Cisse, whoever he plays for. What's the best two players you've watched live in the stadium? You can say one Spurs player and one from the other team. I'll say ever of watching Spurs. I feel like if we use just the Spurs stadium, I don't think there'll be too many options. But ever, White Hart Lane, Spurs Stadium.
Best Spurs player I've watched? Glenn Hoddle. And one from another team at the Spurs Stadium or
wherever. Let's go with wherever.
I've got to say Pele.
Oh, Pele. That's not a bad shout, Lubo.
I've got to say Pele when my dad took me over to Fulham. Santos were touring, and I think we sat in -4 temperature. It was freezing, and we were in that blooming stand that backed onto the river before they've rebuilt it just recently. And it was like we sort of thawed out at half time under the stand having a hot bovril, and then went back out there again. But just to watch him play was just incredible. What a player! What a player!
Yeah. I mean, Pele was obviously a little bit before my time. Obviously, seen all the videos. Thanks, Ash, saying Cisse plays for Rennes as well. I tell you what, France is the place to go, Ash. France, it gets a lot of bad rep, but they've got players that they produce players for fun. Do the French teams? For me, I'm going to go really, really boring. The best Spurs player I've seen at White Hart Lane. I mean, if I go really young, I'm going Hoddle. But if I'm going to be honest, I just loved watching Ginola every week in, week out. Bale, another one, obviously that was mesmerising. But the opposition player, I've got no doubt in my mind, it's this guy.
Messi, aren't you?
It is this guy. I've seen Lionel Messi 4 times at the Camp Nou, play for Barcelona, and it's different. You don't touch him. I love it. People go, "Oh, just kick him." They couldn't get near him. You can't get. There's big guys trying to kick him, and he's just nutmegging them. He's going around them. And his performance at Wembley against Tottenham was.
So wasn't it sensational?
Oh God! When you go, I was questioning who I support on that night. He was so good that it was like, I'm just glad I'm watching this. But big up to you. Thank you. Really good question. Greg B said, Daddy Rose furiously Googling Calamundo. Yeah, listen, I do think, though, that a lot of the time when we say about Googling, maybe we've got to do a little bit more homework on some of these players. There are lots of good players all around Europe. And we'll talk about this guy a little bit later. 10 men at the back, no one in the attack. Said Gaza was a game changer on his own. Yeah, Gaza's another one I could throw in there. But hey, no, let's not do this, please. Electric Forest Savva, there's no beef with Stel. Stel's just doing a little bit less at the moment on YouTube for a few weeks. Let's not start doing this. Lots of people are asking me this. There's no problems with Stel. We're speaking in the background about a new show as well. So no, please. So I hate it when people do this, Lubo. I hate this. It's just mad.
Listen,
there's no.
You said it. There's nobody now needs to ask again, do they?
No. You'd think not. But let's see. Messi. Yes, everyone is saying Messi who destroyed us at Wembley. No, I've not seen it yet. I don't know if Lubo has. No. I know it only came out 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's them two, I think, having a nice little walk around the training ground, and how are you? Yes. Look at us, we're a dream team. I'll have a watch of it after this, and I'm sure we'll have to talk about it on tomorrow morning show. Next question. The Queen, Ellie Hoiber. She's got to change that name. And not Queen or Ellie, but Hoiber. He's gone. Move on. Move it to Ange. Move it to Queen Ellie Postecoglou.
Yeah.
If you could have one player from any era, any league at Spurs, who would that player be and why? Wow. Any player from any era. Can I be boring with mine?
Go on. Ginola. Who would
Messi.
Messi. Who from
Messi.
one player from any era at Spurs? There's so many.
While While Lubo's thinking about it, I'll tell you. So for me, it would be Lionel Messi. And for the simple reason, I've never seen a footballer do the things that he does with a football. And it wasn't the fact that he did it every now and then. It's the fact that he's done it for 20 odd years, week in, week out, on the world level, the Copa America level, league level, champions. He's done it. And I just always hear, yeah, but he wouldn't do it there. He wouldn't do it against them. He's destroyed every team he's played against. He's carried Argentina to a World Cup win. Let's be brutally honest. At the age of 35, he rocked back the years and suddenly turned into this prime Messi for what was a good Argentina team, but not a World Cup winning Argentina team for me. There's nothing the man can't do. So for me, it's Lionel and Messi for sure.
I think if I'm going to stay with a player who's played in Division 1 / Premier League, which would take out Pele, then I would go for George Best. Can you imagine Best at Spurs?
Oh, I mean, the ball was glued to his foot, wasn't it?
It was just mental. I mean, I just remember there was a mud bath of a pitch at Northampton, I think, in February. He scored 6 in an 8-2 win. But no, just superb. Best for me was fabulous.
Yeah. there's greats that people are putting in, like, you know, Diego Maradona. I mean, Batistuta, listen, when I was growing up, I absolutely loved watching Batistuta, like what they call him, Batty goal.
Particularly when he was scoring goals at Wembley against Arsenal in the Champions League. That was great.
Class. Just a class footballer, Gabriel Batistuta. Those were the days when centre forwards were proper centre forwards. He was, you know, and if anyone doesn't know what I mean, the commentators would start by saying Batistuta, and then they'd stop and go, Batty, go! He was sensational. Great player. We've got other players in there. Any era for Craig would be Van Basten or Maldini. Oof. Both played in the same Milan team, right? If I'm not wrong, they would have both been at Milan in the late 80s.
Yes,
right?
Probably did actually.
Yeah, it would have been with Rijkaard.
Maldini was there for about 20 years, wasn't he?
Yeah. Left back and centre back, just class.
Was he there? Was that
just pure class?
I think.
Yaya Toure, Elijah, come on, man. Any player you've ever seen and you're going for Yaya Toure? Come on, man. Come on. Here we go. John Goodall, the top scorer in the 1899 to 1900 season. What a baller. I'll have to go back and see if I can find any footage of John Goodall.
I've got to say, I mean, he's obviously been following Tottenham a lot longer than me.
Yes, I mean, he's doing surprisingly well considering he's over 125. Let's just see if this man exists. John, who is it? Goodall, Spurs. Here we go. John Goodall, Spurs. Let's see if it comes up. John Goodall. Here we go. John Goodall. Let's have a look. Look, right. Look at this guy. This is brilliant. So John Goodall, we've even got a picture of him in all his 4K. There he is. There's John Goodall with his moustache from Westminster, London. He died in 1942, the year Lubo was born. So that's interesting to know. Let's have a look. Oh, he didn't play for Spurs, by the way. He got 160 goals in 380 games and 12 goals in 14 England games. That's not bad, is it? And he played for Mardy, who are a Welsh Southern League team. They were based in the village of Merday in Glamorgan. There we go. You learn something new every year, Lubo, don't you? You learn something new all the time.
You do.
Spurs Naples said he needs the Man City owner or director. Listen, I think we'd all love the Man City owners and directors at Tottenham to buy some players, but unfortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. Pete Worthy, Ferenc Puskas was the best in my book. I mean, I didn't see him play, but a lot of people talk about Puskas being world class. Do you know a lot about that era, the Puskas era?
53 with Hungary. Well, they came to England and battered England at Wembley 6-3. And Ange was very influenced by Puskas. In fact, I think Arthur Rowe who was manager of the 50-51 push and run team that won the league, was also involved with Hungary and Puskás. So there are Spurs links there with Puskás.
Yeah. By the way, for everyone talking about this, listen, I would watch it, but I don't think I can't play it without copyright. So unfortunately, we won't be able to sit and watch it together, I'm afraid. Wow. Listen, Elijah, my man. Oh, France are 3-0 up. Elijah, really, of any player, Yaya Toure, mate, I've seen better players than that I've seen better players than that at White Hart Lane, let alone the world. I haven't watched many midfielders better than his 13-14 season. Oh, I could name you a fair few. Anyway, moving on. Mappin said, Daniel Levy said the outpouring of emotion with the parade was just incredible. We've won a European trophy, but it isn't enough. What we haven't done is more important. We need to win the Premier. Did he say this? Tell me, did Daniel Levy? I'm not buying it. Did Daniel Levy say this? Because if he did,
must be a wind up.
No, did it? Can anyone confirm if he has said this? That's fighting talk, and he needs to get the checkbook out. If this is fighting talk, Lubo, if he did mean that. Anyway, where are we? Good morning. Good evening, rather, to Kate Rixham. Hope you're well.
Yeah. Kate.
Did you know Puskás played in Cyprus? I'll be honest, I didn't. I wasn't around in the 50s, believe it or not. I know I'm getting a bit old. I've got a line across my head, but believe it or not, I wasn't around in the 50s. Stava, brother, tell me if you like what I say. 10 out of 10. You've actually bothered to spell his name right as well. And if that is you, Vinay, feel free to come on to Football Heritage TV for a world exclusive. That would be amazing. Tell us your plans. Let us know what you're going to be doing as the Chief Executive Officer. And by the way, Glenn, I always say this is the most skillful player I've ever seen. The best player I've ever seen is Messi. This is the most skillful footballer I've ever seen. What I rate about Ronaldinho is he literally completed football by about the age of 26, then decided to just go and party for the rest of his career. I just like the guy completed, he won everything. Just a joy to watch. The old Ronaldinho flip-flap. And he smiled his whole way through it. Listen, class act. Let's go to the next question, shall we? So big up, Ellie. Thanks for that. Cold Shot, good evening to you. Says, with Frank wanting a goalkeeper that can play with his feet, do you think he will replace Vic this season? Now, Lubo, lots of reports have started surfacing today that Vicario is wanted by Milan. Should Milan sell Maignan? Now, it looks like, let's get the backstory on this. Mike Maignan, who is a top goalkeeper, by the way, at Milan, he is a very good goalkeeper. He has 1 year left on his Milan contract. Chelsea tried to get him in time for the FIFA World Club Cup, but the two teams couldn't reach an agreement. You would expect that Chelsea will have no problems reaching an agreement the other side. It's what Chelsea do. If he goes, do you see Vicario back to Italy? Milan, one of the biggest clubs in Italy. They've got that. They're kind of like the Man U of Italy. Even if they're not doing well, they've got that pull. Do you see Vicario going to a club like Italy and Frank getting in a new manager?
Goalkeeper, you mean?
Sorry. Well, new manager. We'll talk about that in 2 years. A new goalkeeper.
I could see. Listen, I'd be happy with the swap. Maignan for Vicario, that would do me. You know me, I love Vicario, but Maignan is one of the top 3 or 4 in Europe. So for me, if we could get him, that would be superb.
Wow.
But no, listen,
by the way, all these people are saying that he did say it. We'll talk about that later. Sorry, we'll come back to Levy later. That's crazy. Ash, you sent it to me. I'd fallen asleep and then I started this show. So Ash, did he say it? Hang on, here we go. I'll tell you what, before we go back to that. Right, Daniel Levy has said this. We're very proud of the stadium, but we need to make sure we win on the pitch. There's no point having a wonderful stadium if you don't have a wonderful team that's winning. The reason we do all these other events is to provide extra financial resources to the club, which goes back into the team. Everything is about the team, everything. I think Vinay said, I think a football club exists to make its supporters proud. And the way you make your supporters proud is competing to win and ultimately winning trophies. Daniel Levy said, I've got an excellent relationship with Postecoglou. I told him you're always going to be part of our history. He and his family always welcome back. It was a collective decision. It wasn't my decision. Emotionally, it was very difficult, but we believe we've made the right decision for the club. And he said, the outpouring of emotion with the parade was just incredible. We've won a European trophy, but it isn't enough. We haven't done what we haven't done is more important. We need to win the Premier League. We want to win the Champions League. Lubo, just on that, we'll come back to the Vicario thing in a minute, cold shot. That's
what do I think? I think Paul McKenna's come into Spurs Lodge, cast a spell, hypnotised Levy, and now Levy's coming out with this. Because this is bullshit for the last 24 and a half years, where he's not shown any interest in winning the Premier League or the Champions League. What a load of crap. Sorry, that's disgraceful what he's come out with. And he expects the fans to listen to this and believe it. What a load of old tot. Rubbish. Total rubbish. Rubbish.
Well, Luke, before your blood pressure goes up,
I'm nice and calm today. Chilled. It's summer. Frank's in. Looking forward to the summer now. I'm chilled.
Listen.
What a load of bullshit.
He said it. Right? He said it. Now.
He said we got our Tottenham back and we finished 17th.
Hang on. Now let's see then. All right. You've said it. You've said you've sacked the manager because we need more than that. You've got the manager. You've got a summer transfer window. Go on then.
Yeah.
Go on. Make it happen. Stop. Don't talk about it. Make it. By the way, that's not me saying that we're going to win the league in 1 year. But show us. Show us you mean business. I'll tell you what. You go out, you bring in Semenyo and Eze in one window. Go on. Bring in Semenyo, bring in Eze, bring in a striker. Show us. Sell Son. Bring in a Son replacement. Show us you mean business. That's fair enough, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now let's see it.
And we'll come back to that a bit later. Vicario.
Don't want to see him go.
You don't want to see him go. See, I'm happy. We'll disagree on this one. I'm happy if we get a better keeper with his feet. I don't think he can play.
I've got to tell you something. I can't stand this whole thing about with his feet. We have 10 players out pitch who can play with their feet. Goalkeeper has to save shots. That's his job. And you know what? In the last minute with Luke Shaw's header, who was there pulling it off again, winning us the trophy at the death? Vicario.
Understand that?
That's what you want a goalkeeper for. Great, terrific. He's fantastic with his feet, but he can't save a shot. Who needs that?
Do you think it's just his feet though? Like I think he's got a lot of weaknesses. In my opinion, I think he's a good shot stopper. I feel like he's awful when the ball comes into the box. I feel like he really struggles to command his box. I don't think he's very good with his feet, and for me, he flaps, crosses. That's just me. I'm not saying it. By the way, I'm not saying he's the number one problem.
It's Frank. I think, is it Rob Birch? He's still there, isn't he? Rob Birch is the goalkeeping coach. Yeah, I believe. So Frank's obviously looked at who's there, and he obviously rates him highly enough to keep him. So I would expect Vicario to start smoothing off a lot of those rough parts to his game next season. But for me, you know, he saved more shots than any other keeper, and he was in the Premier League last year, and he was out for 3 months.
Yeah. Well, but that says more about how wide open we are under Ange than it does about Vicario, right?
Yes, it did. But how many points did he actually? How many points has he saved the club in the last 2 years?
Sure. Interesting. I think he's all right. I think he's all right, Lubo. From the moment he came in, I said he's decent. I think he's decent. He doesn't fill me with. He doesn't fill me with. What's the word I'm looking for? Confidence when a cross is coming to the box. I think he flaps at everything. That's only me. Sure, by the way, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh my God, we must sell him. We must get a new goalkeeper."
No.
I'm happy to bring in. I would have taken Flecken over him all day long. For example, I think Flecken's a good goalkeeper.
Well, I think that when you talk about crosses, you've got defenders that are there also to deal with crosses. It's not specifically Vicario's responsibility on his own. So what is his responsibility is to save a shot. because players can't use their hands, goalkeeper can, and that's down to him, and he's one of the best. So for me, I'd rather sacrifice someone who's fantastic with his feet. I'd rather have someone who can make saves like they did in the last minute in Bilbao.
Look, each to their own. As I said, I think he's decent. I don't think he's anywhere near what Hugo Lloris was when we had him in his prime.
No, I don't think so either. I think Lloris in his prime was absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
he was brilliant. But at the moment, I think Vicario is one of the best shot stoppers, and he's had to be a really good shot stopper because we've been wide open for 2 years.
See, even Lee said it. Even Lee thinks Spurs are going to win the league and the Champions League next year. That's it. That's the spirit, Lee. Well done. That's the spirit. Spurs for the league and the. Can you imagine Thomas Frank came in and won the league? Can you imagine?
Going there and winning the league. Can you
imagine?
Can you imagine the parade would go from Edmonton to Stamford Hill, and down to the East End? It'd be mental if we won the league.
Oh, mate, I'll be honest. I've always been the same. Crowds like that being enclosed gives me the. I don't know. I feel a bit claustrophobic with that. That scares the shit out of me. Levy bought you Gray, Lubo. There you go. He did, James Flower. He did. Lubo's so ungrateful, isn't he? He got Vicario, he got Romero, he got Gray. All these players. He's got Tell, who Lubo said is the best left winger we could sign in the market. All these players that he brings in. So ungrateful. But listen, all I'll say is put your money where your mouth is, Daniel Coys. Put your money where your mouth is. Listen, I think we'd all agree on this, Lubo, right? If we went out this window and got in a good striker, got in an Mbeumo or a Semenyo on the right, got in an Eze, suddenly I'd start going, okay, right, I'm not talking about Daniel Levy at the end of the transfer window. This is now all on the manager. We're now saying, hang on, you've been given your talent, and I'm not saying go and win it, but you've been given your talent. Go and get ourselves comfortably in the top 4 with those players. That's what I'd be saying. So, Levy, over to you. What I do know is he's not going to be winning leagues if you're bringing in Matisse Tells. So you need to listen early in the window. But let's see. Now he said that though, that soundbite's never going to go away for him. Never.
Well, the last deal that he's finalised, which was the Tell loan, has in effect, when you look at the paperwork that's now been amended for the Kane money, you're looking at 40 million plus Tell for Harry Kane. And that's your deal, Sam.
Yeah, I know. But all I care about now is
which for me is probably on a par with the worst deal that Levy has ever done for our club in 25 years. So, and now he's saying we've got to win a Premier League and Champions League. Seriously? Does he seriously expect the fan base to swallow that rubbish?
Wise guy's right. We were only 90 minutes away from the Champions League before. Why not again? Hey, wise guy, we're going to win it. We're winning it. Listen, we've got our Levy back. That's all I know. We've got our Levy back. Let's go to here. Listen, Dabs or Madabs or whatever has said actions speak louder than words. Yeah, let's see. As I said, the last time Levy did this, we got a soundbite.
Simple. We've got our Tottenham back. That's...
Now, I'm going to be able to clip him saying we need to win the league or the Champions League, and I'll be able to show that as a soundbite for Daniel Levy moving forward. Watch this space. Let's go to the question. So I think Lubo wouldn't get rid of Vicario. For me, you know my feelings, guys. There's no one really in the squad where I'd be that upset if they left. So if Vicario left, sure. Let's see what Frank wants. Does Frank want a Vicario in goal? Or does he want more of a Flecken who was good with his feet? We'll see. Listen, a lot of unanswered questions at the moment. We've got loads of questions and hardly any answers because the manager hasn't even entered the training ground yet. You know, he's on holiday at the moment, probably playing Football Manager on his tablet with the Spurs players going, nah, this isn't for me. I'm selling him. Let's see. Let's go to the next question. I agree, Steve. I completely agree. That is exactly my fit. I think excellent shot stopper. He is flappy. Let's have a look. Marios has said, this is just to you, Lubo. What's the next step for Archie Gray? What is the next step?
I think to be integrated slowly into the first team in midfield. For me, that's the logical next step. He's not a defender. To me, he's not a defender. I watched his performance against Chelsea in the FA Cup, 16 months ago, and he just bossed that midfield. And he looked superb at the age of 17. You just think, well, we haven't seen that at Spurs. And look at the opportunities he was given and against whom and who was playing with in midfield. And Ange did him no favours at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Frank works with him. He obviously didn't have he obviously didn't have as good a season for me as Bergvall, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Spurs don't play him at centre mid. He's played 2 games so far in the under-21s for England, where he's played, I believe, right back and left back. I believe he started the first game left and went to right. I might be wrong. Either way, he's played at full back. Yeah. The last 6 months for Leeds, he played at full back. Is he in danger? Remove emotions here.
Yeah.
Is he in danger of he is going to turn into a defender if he's not played in central midfield anytime soon?
I thought you were going to ask me, is he in danger of becoming a utility player? And the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is
same thing, yeah.
Absolutely, no question about it. I think it's always good. It's great to have a player that can play in different positions. I think every manager, for every manager, that's a godsend. With injuries as well, you can just slot someone in who can literally just come into the team. And he wasn't fantastic last season, but he didn't let anybody down, that's for sure. So, if anybody remembers Troy Parrott's debut at Spurs against Norwich in the FA Cup, that was a player that was well out of his depth. Gray was leagues above that. So, there you go.
Yeah. By the way, people just put out a poll. Nice, simple one. Has Daniel Levy changed? And your answers are yes, no, or it's bullshit. It's that simple. I want to hear your answers. There's 3 options. Yeah, listen, I don't know how he gets games in midfield this year. I don't. That's only... I'd say that now, and I'm saying that sitting here on June the 17th. We'll see. If Bentancur and Basuma stay and Bergvall stays and we bring in, I don't know, Norgard, for example, I don't see how he gets games in midfield. Maybe, though, Frank says, you know what? This is my guy. Maybe he starts the season. We'll see. For me, my worry for the lad is I don't know how he's going to get games in midfield. I just don't think, personally, I don't see what Lubo sees in him. I'm really underwhelmed with him just as a footballer. We'll see. We'll see. It's a big year for him. Because if he goes backwards this year, it's 2 years where he's not really been able to learn and grow in midfield. So,
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Time will tell.
I'll tell you what, can you quickly keep talking about Gray? The wife's ringing me.
The wife's ringing you. She wants an extra subscription. There you go. What questions we got on here? Any questions? Yaya has doubled the quality of the crop of midfielders. Agree with that. Where are we? I will vote bullshit, but my only hope is Levy means it because he knows Cherrington and co will get rid of him if he doesn't deliver. That's a good point, Mark. That is a very good point. That Cherrington and Lewis will get rid of him if he doesn't deliver. I think that's what Cherrington is Lewis's man. He's his personal independent financial advisor who looks after all his investments. So, there you go. Thomas Frank will leave next year.
Change it to Thomas and Frankie. Thomas and Frankie. There you go. Thomas and Frankie. Big up to Leo out there. Said watching from Denver. Big up to you, my man. I hope you guys are well. We're well. We're just reeling in the success of the Champions League and Premier League title that is coming our way in a season soon, according to Daniel Levy. You've got to laugh, Leo. Daniel bloody Levy does it again. Big up. Let's go to the next question. Yeah, absolutely multi-channel. That's what it is. Listen, we can all sit here and talk about this, and we will. There will be many conversations about it moving forward on podcasts. Essentially, if you want to win things, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. We are competing against Liverpool, who have got Diaz, Gakpo, Salah, Jota, Nunes, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch. Like, I've missed some out there. The Virgil van Dijks, the Alissons. We're competing against Man City, who have got Cherky, Foden, Marmoush, Haaland, Rodri, Reinders. Like, you want to start winning league titles, you've got to start buying better players than Matisse Tell. You've got to buy better players than Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke. So let's see. Put your money where your mouth is, Daniel. There we go. Mike Chase has said Levy talks and talks with no result previously. Hey, we're second grade European champions right now, Mike. You take that back. We're second grade European champions right now. We're not quite PSG's level. David Clark said Vicario mimics Everton and England's keeper. Oh, here's a good one. Great shot stopper, but gets involved in play when he should be nowhere near the play. He flaps and punches. Do you know what? I don't disagree with that, David. I feel like that whenever I watch. I always get his name wrong. What's his name? Pickford. Yeah. Why don't I? I don't know why I couldn't get that. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Jordan Pickford's a really good goalkeeper. Gets involved too much. Too many antics. Just let's go back to goalkeepers doing the easy thing.
Well, let me ask David, do you not, when you're watching Spurs, are you not worried? You watch them passing the ball across the 6-yard box. The aim is to score the goal 100 yards down the other end. Why put yourself under pressure in your own penalty area? It's a ridiculous way of playing. I can't stand this passing out from goalkeepers 100 yards from their goal. It's actually nonsense. You've got Solanke who can lay the ball off, push people up, squeeze the play, get their team away from our goal, which is a big help, and hit the ball long and accurately.
Yeah, completely agree. Big up Paul, channel member. He has said, evening, Savva. Good evening to you as well, my man. By the way, if anyone was worried why my wife was calling, just let me know that she's just left Winchester and she'll be with me at 7:30. For anyone that's married, what that means is, can dinner be ready at 7:30? That's exactly what that means. It wasn't asked. It wasn't talked about. That's exactly what it means. Plus, if someone can remind me, here you go. Let's see if anyone's memory. Before I leave the show, can someone remind me that it's bin day tomorrow? No, it's not. It's Monday, isn't it? No, it's Tuesday. Bin day tomorrow. If you can remind me, as soon as this show finishes, I've got to put the bins out. I always get in trouble for not doing it. Got to put the bins out.
Dustbins and dinner.
Yeah.
Have you done the hoovering lately?
Yeah, it's all clean. It's all clean. I am a clean freak. I do not like mess. I can't stand mess. Anyway, Paul, I said, hope you're both well. We are. Hope you are as well, mate. I said, how many minutes can our youth expect this season? Or would it be better for the best prospects to go out on loan to gain vital experience for next season? Now, Lubo, this is interesting, right? Because Champions League kind of dictates that we're not going to have those games probably that you're going to have against the Elfsborgs and the Ferencvaros type games where you're going to be able to say, okay, great, you go in at right back and you go in at left wing. It's going to be more difficult, isn't it, this year to get some of the youth some minutes?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see who performs pre-season, who does it for Frank in training. So we'll be watching meticulously every single training session and see who performs and who doesn't. And it's going to be interesting to see when he ultimately picks his 25 for the 3 or 4 months from August to December, when they give their 25 after the transfer window. Who's on there? I genuinely think that if the kids, I think we've got the best set of kids that have come through the academy probably since the days of Nick Barmby, Darren Caskey from the early 90s. And I will be interested to see which kids do come through, which are in the first team squad, and which kids Frank starts giving opportunities to, the way Arteta did with Nweri and Lewis Skelly last year, and Eddie Howe the year before with Lewis Miley. Ten Hag did with Kobe Mainu. Brighton did with Hinshelwood the other year. So there are plenty of young kids. There are more young kids playing Premier League football now than there have been for quite some time. Spurs don't quite, apart from Bergvall last year, regularly over the last half of the season. Nobody else was getting regular Premier League minutes. So be interesting to see. And the other thing also is that Johnson and Gray were both hijacked by Spurs from Brentford. So Frank fancies both players. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with Johnson, how he improves him, and does he find a place for Gray in the team? So it's going to be an interesting 2 or 3 months.
Going to be very interesting. Big up Ellie. She's changed it to Queen Ellie Matters. There you go. So look what I've done. You kept on nagging me, Savva. I finally yielded. Rest assured, I still adore Højbjerg. Ellie, for the FHTV barbecue, I have invited Højbjerg. I'm waiting for his email response to see if he fancies joining for some Greek lamb and some Greek meat. We'll see what the Viking says. Don't you worry. Luke said Yaya is double the quality of the crop of midfielders we have now. I mean, the crop of our midfielders,
Definitely.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, listen, my favourite Man City midfielder alone, forget Yaya, is Rodri. I think Rodri is the best player in the world for me. That's my type of footballer. Just oozes class. Just cool, calm, collected. Everything runs through him.
Because my favourite City player is David Silva, which is consistent when you consider that I love Glenn Hoddle. I love that sort of player, silky player, glides around the pitch. I was talking
more centre mid. For me, more of a listen. David Silva for me, criminally underrated. When people talk about the greats from the Premier League era, I don't see his name mentioned enough. I know. David Silva, great player. Big up to Mike Zappa. Say hi guys. A bit off topic. Oh, Mike Zappa, my airport friend. So just seen the Levy and new CO interview. What a load of mealy-mouthed corporate garbage. Mealy-mouthed corporate garbage. Love that. Listen, I think that what we can say, Mike, is I've not seen him say this before. Now, I'm too old and ugly to think that it's going to happen. But this is the first time he said we want to win the league. If I'm not wrong, I think this is the first time he said we want to win the league.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see the summer window then. Let's see it. Then, you know what, Lubo? Then let's see the January window. And you know what? Then let's see the summer window. This isn't a one-time thing. This is let's see the windows then, Daniel. Let's see what you're made of for me. But, hey, that's just me. Gray might have been stifled by Ange. He might have been. But the problem he's got is the longer he doesn't play central midfield, the harder it's going to become for anyone to go, right, you're my main man in midfield. So we'll see. Let's get in the next question, shall we? Where are we? What was he saying? Oh, here we go. Money Mates. Here you go. Lubo will love this. He'll be in his element. Hope you're both well, first of all. We are. In your opinion, what is the worst, shouted it at me, the worst decision that Daniel Levy has made at Tottenham? Keep up the great content, by the way, Savva. You know what? I'm not even going to answer this. Lubo will have, I'm sure, about 9,000 examples. The worst Daniel Levy decision. The worst.
Walking into the club on his first day.
Lubo, stop it. Lubo, come on. Stop it.
I'm serious.
Stop it.
Deadly serious.
Lubo, come on.
The club died a little bit when he came in and joined the club.
I need an answer other than him walking through the door.
So
he's in the door. What's his worst decision?
Worst decision. Phil, you're asking me to pick one out of God knows how many. Not back in Pochettino when we were that close. That was the closest we've been to winning the league during his reign as chairman. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Not back in Pochettino. Yeah, and again, as I've said, I feel like we need to get back to the Poch days. And I know all I'll hear now is he didn't win anything. But how different it could have been in the Poch days when we were within striking distance of the league. How different it could have been. How different if rather than having to start selling the Walkers and the Dembélés and the Ericssons, how different if we had added to the Walkers, the Dembélés and the Ericssons. So for me, that's why when people say to me, oh, you prefer league over cup, it's not that. I just look at the bigger picture that when Poch was here for that time, before it all started going wrong, Spurs were in a wonderful place. I went into every game thinking we were going to win.
Well, I'll give you one example. Summer transfer window 2016. We could have bought Sadio Mane, Gigi Wijnaldum, and Wilfried Zaha.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that team would have been like with those three added? And this was the team. This was the last year at the Lane when we finished with 86 points. Can you imagine stick another 8 on top of that? You beat Chelsea to the league.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. This is what it needed when we had that squad. Imagine you're now rotating Son, Ali, Ericsson, Zaha, and Mane. Right, but equally, Lubo, I just want to play devil's advocate here so it doesn't all sound like we're the same. Our fans at the time, do you remember? Our fans were going, oh, Spurs, we want this player. Oh, who's he going to play instead of? Our fans never seem to understand the meaning of a squad. We seem to think that football is about a first 11. Remember saying at the time we were linked with where would he play? But again, this is what you've got to manage. Sure. Pep Guardiola hasn't bought Rayan Cherki, and I haven't seen one Man City fan go, but where does he play? They all go, brilliant, another top player. Do you know what I mean? Another top footballer. They don't care about 11s. They care about squads.
Yeah.
Just saying. Arsenal, just a spicy Spurs, said Savva, you're going to hurt all the top gooners. Not mentioned Arsenal with Man City and Liverpool. Listen, you boys seem to be sleeping while Man City and Liverpool seem to be buying players. I know the window's only just started, but Liverpool and Man City are buying well. I think Liverpool and Man City have bought top players, very good players. And you lot, at the moment, seem to be having a fart around about whether or not it's going to be Sesko or Gyökeres. Thanks, Elijah. Just a little bit too early to be reminding me that it's bin day tomorrow. I'll forget between now and the end of the show. Savva, to have dinner ready for 7:30 or something else is ready at 11:30. Is that a little bit fruity, C to the fourth? We're married. We don't do things like that. Don't be so silly. We eat dinner. That's about it. Where are we? Next question. Let's have a look. Big up to my man, Avi. Avi, I love Avi and I hate him, Lubo. Look how ripped he is. Can you see his little thumbnail? I love that. He's just casually sitting in the gym with his great big biceps in there. Here's me with my little skinny arms sitting here talking football. Big up to you, my man. It's a question. Do you think we are going to have the same caliber of players coming in as the last transfer window? So, Lubo, let's forget January. Let's go back to last summer. We bought 4 kids and Dominic Solanke. I fail to believe we're going to have another window like that. We simply can't. I think they will have. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Clip it. I think that Daniel Levy is learning. I think he's learning from everything he did, everything he's done. I think Vinay might have given him a little bit of a, oi, you got to do better. We'll see, but I think he's learning. What do you reckon?
Bloody hope so. Be about time, wouldn't it, eh?
I just want to see you with a Levy in poster at one of the protests. I want to see you on the opposition side to Stell and Daigle. Like they're over here going Levy out and you're going Levy in, he won me the league.
Yeah.
If he won the league, would all the protests stop and the hate for Levy stop?
It would have to.
Yeah.
I think it would probably have to. Because if we win the league, then he would have backed the manager and he would have shown the commitments that I've been asking for the last 24 and a half years. So, listen, that's all I want. I want someone to have a go, give something back to the fans. We have the most amazing fan base, and all they've done for 24 and a half years is take from the fan base. They've given nothing back. So how about giving it? Maybe it's their time. Maybe Levy's realised, you know what? About time I gave something back to those fans.
Yeah. Danny, they have spoken and we're winning the league. It's official. We're the 2020. The bookies have just slashed their odds. I'll tell you what, have the bookies put their odds out yet? Hang on, let's have a look. Premier League, what was I say? Premier League winner odds 25, 26. Let's see if that's out yet. I don't know if it is. Let's see what the bookies have us, if we can get that odds. Come on. Odds checker, maybe. Premier League 2025. Here we go. What do you reckon? What do you reckon it's going to be?
Liverpool and City are probably going to be joint favourites, I would have thought.
Let's see. They're just verifying I'm a human. So bear with me while they verify that I'm a human. Thanks for your patience. Thank you for your patience. No, I'm not accessing from the outside the UK. Let's see. English Premier League winner. Is this season coming? So Liverpool at 9-4. City, Arsenal at 5-2.
Okay.
City at 11-4.
Yeah.
Newcastle at 16s. Chelsea at 20-1. Man United at 33-1. And then Spurs and Villa at 70-1.
70.
Spurs and Villa at 70s. So stick $1,000 on it. Daniel Levy's promised us that we're winning the league soon. Premier League 20. Let's just check. Liverpool favourites ahead of Man City. Just checking another site. Liverpool are the favourites. You can get Liverpool at 15-8 or 2-1, 9-4, and Spurs. Yeah, you're getting the lowest I can get. Spurs is 51-1, 51-1. Tottenham are with most bookies, and then after that, you got Forest and Brighton down in the 150s, 200s. So Liverpool and City are the bookies' favourites, and then Arsenal at 5-2. So Danny, get down the bookies, mate. Spurs are winning the league. Where are we? Where are we? Here's an interesting one. Fendi Mohammed has said, any thoughts on Yang Min Hyuk? Is he still not good enough? Difficult one to answer that, isn't it, Luke? I mean, I've not really seen him, and he's been out on loan at QPR, so I don't really know.
I think we need to ask Queen Ellie Madders that, because her husband's a big QPR fan.
Yeah,
Ellie likes watching QPR with her husband. So Ellie, how's he done this year, the boy? Come back to us, let us know.
Yeah, Ellie, let us know. I mean, I've seen a few clips where looks like he's another one that's got nice touches and that, but listen, it's a far cry from the Championship to performing week in, week out in the Premier League. It's a huge, huge leap. And I think I saw a lot of videos when he joined us of this wonder kid, and I think, oh, just slow your horses down, people. Slow your horses down. Juice. Oh, I'll Juice Sand. This is one of my trolls. Hang on. This is one of my trolls. Do you know how I know? Ready? Decision is troll. The chat is not going hungry, at least. Ian is serving up a load of waffle, as per usual. We'll call you the chef from now on, Lubo. We'll call you the chef, Chef Lubo, for all the waffle that you serve up. By the way, one of the best players I've seen for the last 20 years, no nonsense football fan. Absolutely never, ever got talked about and ran the show for Barcelona for over a decade. And not just Barcelona, Spain as well. This guy ran the show for the best club team and the best country team I think I've ever seen. Yet people will argue, we could have that argument about the Milans and all that. But, mate, this guy could play. This guy was Rodri before Rodri for me. Top footballer. But we move on. Leo said Yaya was amazing. Yeah, listen, Yaya was a top footballer. Left Barca, couldn't get in the Barca team, actually. Talking about Busquets, couldn't get in, could he? Couldn't get into midfield because they had Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta. That's no shame, by the way. That's no shame if you're not breaking into that midfield three. I want to hear Lubo and Savva's thoughts on this. We're winning the league, mate. Yeah, Danny, where have you been? Even I know about this, and I'm live. Where have you been? Here you go. If you go on to Tottenham Hotspur official, it says that interview. Here you go. Interview with Daniel Levy and Vinay Venkatesham. And they're talking about wanting to win the titles. You'll be upset, though, Danny. There's a bit in there where they're talking about getting rid of Angepostecoglou. So I know that wherever you are, probably in your Javiana store, that you're probably very, very upset about Angepostecoglou. But big up to you, Danny. No Frank interview yet. He's on holiday. He's on holiday. Right. Let the man have... Let him have a week. Let him have some tequilas or some, I don't know, whatever he drinks. Just let him have some time. Yes, Danny, he did. Yes, Danny. Yes, Danny. Yes, Danny. You've got to get behind him now, mate. You've got to get behind him. Where are we? Let's go to the next one. Big up to my man, the International Observer. We should welcome this as a start. And like you say, Savva, we'll see over the coming months. Look. I don't think we're going to win the league anytime soon. I'm not expecting him to. But show some intent. Show some intent. Go and give this manager enough players to get top 4. Go and give this manager players to kick on from Newcastle and Villa. Do you know what I mean? Lubo, when we're talking at the moment about Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal and catching them, right? Then for me, I think the league is split into 2 at the moment. I think you've got City, Liverpool and Arsenal. I think they're the big 3. Sorry, I know people don't want it, but they are. They're up there every year at the moment. Then I think you've got Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa in the next bracket for me with the next level of players down. And at the moment, we've fallen away from that. And we need to get back to them first, for me, before we then start looking at the big boys. So go and give us the players to match Isak, Guimaraes, Tonali. Go and give us those players first and foremost, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Instead of, this is why I'm listening to what's coming through for this interview that Levy's come out with, and we've got a substandard squad compared to all of those 6 that you've mentioned, because Levy doesn't give a budget and he doesn't give wages. Has a wages cap, which cuts out a lot of players who may have come to the club. So. Doesn't ring, it doesn't ring true what he's saying. It's like, he had an epiphany moment, where he's like, the light bulb's gone on. Let's see. Nobody will blame anybody for being skeptical about this. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. By the way, for anyone, France were 3-0 up against Poland. Poland scored and then VAR has ruled it out. Hugo Schell has said, Savva, would you rather Jonathan David or Ferran Torres? Also, Gyökeres will never sign since his Amanda Nilsson plays for our women's team. Are we saying? Sorry. Okay, right. Sorry. So Gyökeres' wife plays for Spurs. Is that what we're saying? Is that true? Is that true?
No idea.
I don't know what that means. Would I rather have Jonathan David or Ferran Torres? Jonathan David, for me, he's an out-and-out striker. Ferran Torres is one that always scores but always underwhelms me at the same time, if that makes sense. I always feel he's the weak link in the Barcelona setup. But having said that, is he good enough for Spurs? Probably, yes. But I don't want him, if that makes sense. Let's go to the next question. Somebody said here that a poor Daniel Levy decision was lowballing Villa with a 5 million bid for Grealish when they wanted 10 million. Next day, Villa were taken over. Yeah, wasn't it that we offered 20 and they wanted 25? Wasn't
no,
it?
It wasn't. We offered 18. They accepted 18. I was told. Then he went back and said, no, I'll give you 15. And they said no. And then the new owners came in a week later and wanted 40 million.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, listen, absolutely. Interesting times. Right, let's have a look at the next question. Where are we? Here we go. It's an interesting one. Lubo, is there a former player that reminds you of Eze? It's an interesting one because he's pretty unique, isn't he, as a player?
Yeah. Is there a former player that reminds me of Eze? Can't think of one. Not exactly the way he plays. Crikey. Possibly the closest, probably is Gaza.
Oh, there we go. High praise indeed from Lubo. High praise indeed. Yeah, listen, I think Eze, that's what I like about Eze. I don't think he is like other players. I think he's a bit of a maverick. I think that Eze, for me, is a more polished version of what Zaha was. I hate this word, but he's more of a street baller. He's more of a plays like he's on the playground, plays like he's in the street. You know, he's got that bit of magic where he can do something out of nothing.
Zaha was more of a wide player, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Eze floats wherever he wants.
Yeah.
So, David has said, my name is David from Korea. Would you have a prime Son Heung-min in a Thomas Frank team? I'd have a prime Son player in most teams, yeah. It's just at the moment, it's not a prime Son, is it? And I know there's a lot of Son fans out there that really get offended when you talk about moving Son on. Let's talk about Son really quickly. Thank you, David. Let's talk about Son really quickly. All the news today is that that Son won't be leaving before our tour of Korea because he is the draw. He is the reason that we're tied into those commercial deals. Well, what do you make of all that?
Quite possible. Sounds logical, doesn't it? You know, they've signed contracts. Son is obviously within the contract for the tour. Son is making several personal appearances. You know, you can't sell him. Not before we go to Korea anyway. Maybe after, who knows, but not before.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'd hate to think that Spurs can't conclude transfer business because we've got a tour of Asia coming up. Do you know what I mean? But I completely understand it. If Sonny turns up to the tour, so does half of South Korea, right? Yeah. So, you know, he's the most famous. I suppose it's kind of like the modern day version of David Beckham, isn't it? You know, he is Mr. Marketing. But listen, maybe a deal's struck that he leaves after. We'll wait and see on the Son one. Again, for me, I'm happy for him to move on. I'm happy for something different. I like seeing things freshened up. For me, I like seeing things freshened up. Pete Worthy said you hit the nail on the head, Savva. Thank you. I normally do, Pete. I normally do. Just trying to convince Lubo that I'm always right. Having a squad means having two players in each position on the books, all capable of coming on and winning Premier League matches. Yeah, look, and that doesn't happen overnight. We can see at the moment. Look, like when you look at Newcastle have got a really good 11. Newcastle at the moment, that's what their fans are asking for, right? They need to, what's beneath the surface? What's there when you scratch below Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton? It's a brilliant midfield three, but, you know, what's in the middle of that? What's behind that? So, look, I agree. I think you've got to build towards that. For Spurs, I think we need to, first of all, let's get the 11 strong. At the moment, I don't even think we've got a strong 11, so let's get that strong. Next question is from, where are we? Elijah, big up and said, do either of you care about, I've stumbled upon politics, care about the politics behind the whole Solomon thing, or is it just something that you guys would rather not talk about? Personally, I swerve the convo every time. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take your last sentence. I don't get involved in any of this politics. I only care about, is he a good enough footballer? That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Moving on swiftly, Elijah. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have picked that up if I'd known it had the word politics in it. Apologies. By the way, Poland have scored. So it's Poland, France 3, Poland 1. Good header. Hollywood Phil said, do you think Ange will take over at Brentford? And would he finish above us? No and no are my answers. I think he'd get them relegated. There you go. That's my answer. I truly think he'd get them relegated, mate.
There you go.
Well, you got to answer it.
Who, me? No, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Hollywood Phil, I think that from my point of view, the type of football he plays, if you look what Brentford have done, Brentford have got a lot of, Brentford are a team where the sum of the parts are greater than the one, right? So I think with a team like Brentford, they're all pulling together, working hard, they're organised. I think if you suddenly went all gung-ho like he did with Tottenham at Brentford, I think you're going to see them ripped wide open like we were. And we've got better footballers than Brentford. So I think he'd get them relegated, is my honest answer. I've said that for ages, Phil, by the way. I think if he managed Wolves last year or Palace last year or any of these teams, I think he gets them relegated. I think he got away with it massively at Tottenham. Marianne, here we go. It's an interesting one. If Vicario goes or stays for that matter, could Austin be the answer? He did well in the few games he got.
He played against Newcastle, he played against Hoffenheim, and he did very well in both, which is why I didn't understand why they bought Kinski. For me, that was just a waste of money. Just a complete... I mean,
it's difficult, right? Because I find it really tough to judge a player on 2 games. He didn't do anything. He did nothing that made me think, oh, you're terrible. But again, it's adrenaline. I don't know. It comes in as a good game. I think we did this with Kinski, by the way, when Kinski came in for his first couple of games, wasn't it? Liverpool and somebody else. And everyone went, oh my God, he's better than Vicario. And it was like, whoa, like everyone had seen 2 games and said that he's better. I think Kinski's got a lot about him, by the way. I think Austin looks like he's got a lot about him. The question you've got to ask yourself is, why has he got to this age and played such a little football? I think there's a question you've got to ask yourself. So I don't know. For me, if I was him, I'd be off trying to find a championship team to play 46 games a season. Otherwise, his career is just going to peter out, isn't it?
I mean, he's been an understudy for Lloris. I mean, number 3 wasn't even the understudy for Lloris. It was number 3 or 4, and then Vicario came in. So no, for me, Austin's a decent keeper. For me, he should be our number 2, unless Frank sees something in Keeley. Bin day tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah. Daryl Denton said 70 to 1. If you put £1 on, you definitely lose £1. I would advise everybody not to put their money on Spurs to win the league title next season. For me, I'm going to go back to Man City. I'm just putting it out there right now. I think Man City are going to win it. I think you're going to see a very, very different Manchester City next season.
What would you have got? Beginning of last season, what would you have got on Palace and Newcastle to win the 2 cups?
Oh, as a double.
What would you have got for a double?
Oh, 200 to 1.
You'd have had mad odds on those 2.
Yeah, maybe 200s. I don't know, 150s maybe. I don't know. Massive odds. 70 to 1. I wonder what a Spurs League, Champions League double is. That's going to be quite big odds. Don't go for it. Foxy, so Yang needs to bulk up a bit and another loan. He has talent, but not ready for the Prem yet. Big up to you, Foxy. Always on the ball. Let me catch up a bit. I've so many comments. I'm back on 14 minutes past 7. Harvey said, why would Isak sign with Tottenham? I mean, he wouldn't. I don't think anyone said he would, did they? Did you say it, Lubo? Did you say that? Alex?
I'd love to see him in Spurs. For me, he's my favourite centre forward in the league. I love him. Out of every centre forward, whether it's Sesko, Gyökeres, whoever, Isak would be my choice. It'd be phenomenal up front for Spurs.
Top player. Absolute. Okay, right. Okay, so apparently Gyökeres' partner plays as a defender for Spurs. Okay, cool. I get it. Listen, I've said all along, I don't think this guy's coming to Tottenham. I think he's got a lot better offers than Tottenham. But hey, at the moment he hasn't left. No, Ronnie again is two of these are important. Lubo didn't say he was as good as Gaza. He said in terms of the style, the way he plays. We've got to. This is the problem with YouTube, Lubo. People take sound bites of what people say, and then wrap it.
Listen,
wrong.
I agree. I agree with Ronnie completely. Gaza's different class to.
Of course,
different league.
Of course,
different league. But just the way that Eze jinx, Gaza used to do that as well. He used to weave in and out.
Ellie's talking about Trevor Brooking. Now, he was a good player, wasn't he? My uncle swears by Trevor Brooking, said he was class.
Yeah.
Trevor Brooking. Is Trevor Brooking still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. He used to be on, he was on everything, right? He was in all the TV programs. I haven't
BBC,
seen him
for a while. He was on with Hanson and Lawrenson, wasn't he, regularly?
Yeah. He might be, he must be knocking on a bit now, Trevor Brooking. But yeah, my uncle said, what was he? Was he a winger or a forward?
No, midfield player. Again, very silky midfield player. It's like he was a number 10.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's have a look. Where are we? Itchy, not scratchy. I love that one. Who's your top 3 semi-realistic signings for the summer? Semi-realistic, I know. Mine are Vlahovic, Eze, and Douglas Luiz. I mean, it's not a bad 3 to bring in through the spine of your team, is it? Eze, playmaker, Douglas Luiz in the number 6. And Vlahovic up top. Lubo, if you had 3 semi-realistic.
Those 3 are good 3. I mean, semi-realistic, I'd like to see Jonathan David up front for
He's
Spurs.
Not gone anywhere yet, has he?
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't gone anywhere yet, and he's on a free. So I think that will happen in the next month, in the next few weeks. It's going to happen, something.
I mean, I'd probably say... David, Eze, and Paulinho for me.
Yeah. Some good signings there. Big up Elijah, who's been very generous, letting me know on the minute, every minute, that it is bin day tomorrow. Thank you very much for reminding me. Really appreciate that. Yeah, listen, I think there's a few. Listen, I really want a top wide man. And I want a wide man that has got pace and power. Whether that's Semenyo, whether that's Buemo, whether that's I want somebody with something different. At the moment, I think when you look at all our wide men, they're just a little bit, I don't want to say skinny, but they're a little bit lightweight. All of them look like they're going to, Brennan Johnson looks like if you blew on him that he'd fall over. I want to see a bit of direct power running at fullbacks. I want to see a man running at fullbacks, not boys. And at the moment, when you look at Odegaard, Tell, Johnson, it's all a bit lightweight for me, Lou. But I think that's fair to say, isn't it? I don't think that's being too harsh.
I think so.
Yeah, I just want to see.
Looking forward to seeing how Mikey Moore progresses and develops this season.
Yeah, I mean, is he old enough to go out on loan now?
Well, he will be, and if he goes anywhere, you've got Ryan Mason at West Brom now, who will probably pack his team with half a dozen Spurs loanees. Wouldn't surprise me. So we'll see.
So someone's just sent this through to me. New Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinay Venkatesham has revealed that behind the scenes, the process that saw Thomas Frank appointed as head coach. Ready for this? There were 30 plus candidates for the role. Shortlist was analysed in real detail. I like that. That doesn't really mean anything, does it? Analyst led by Johan Lang. And Frank was the number 1 candidate. So make of that what you will. I don't know if there's anything groundbreaking there, but 30 plus candidates. There you go. Thomas Frank was the guy. Let's have a look at another question. Where are we? This is an interesting one. Marklin Murrigan, big up to you. I said, how will our current squad do under Frank? It's a bit of a double-edged question, this, Lubo, because I don't think it's going to be this squad that he takes into next season. I think there's going to be a lot of outs and a lot of ins. So tough to answer, right?
I would estimate we would probably finish around 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think because the squad is short. 8th would have given you, 60 odd points. So another 22. for Spurs, 7 wins. So, yeah, I think so. I think under Frank, we got an extra 7 wins. You look at the games, we dropped 5 points to Wolves, we dropped 3 to Ipswich, we dropped, was it say 5 to Wolves, 5 to Leicester, 3 to Ipswich. There's 13 points. There's 13 of your 22.
Yeah.
So,
no,
you know.
I absolutely. Listen, I think that I think it's too difficult to answer that question on June the 17th. I keep getting people saying to me, go on then, where's Frank going to finish? And I'm like, well, how can I answer that on June the 17th? The manager's not in. I don't know. We could lose Maddison, Romero, Vicario, Van der Ven, Son, and then it's about who comes in. Or we could keep them all, plus bring in Mbeumo, Eze, and Semenyo, and suddenly I'm going, oh, hang on, we should be top 4. So I think we need to wait and see. I think we really need to wait and see what's done in the transfer window before people come out of crazy stuff. I'm seeing a lot of people going, oh, if Frank doesn't get top 4, he's failed. And you're like, what part of this team looks like a top 4 side right now? So I think we've got to be realistic with that. But thank you for the question. Oh, that's a shame. Paul said, yeah, his wife sadly passed away a couple of weeks ago. I think we're talking about Trevor Brooking, right? Well, rest in peace to Trevor Brookings' other half. Sorry to hear that. Next question was, we did that one. Here we go. Danny Taylor. I said, question, if we lose Romero, who realistically would you replace him with? Now, Lubo. Christian Romero is always hot debate, isn't he, Christian Romero? Sasha Tavalieri, who is getting everything right so far this summer. He was one of the first ones, if I'm not wrong, to break the Thomas Frank news. He was one of the first ones to break the Wirtz news. He has come out today, reposted an old post he did about Romero to Atletico and just given the eyes. You know, like when Romano does the eyes again, as if to say, I told you, something's happening. I don't know if it is. Romero keeps talking, keeps saying, I'm open to things. Do you think he's going? And if we lose him, who would you replace him with?
50-50 he goes.
Yeah.
No more than that.
How are the splinters in your arse?
No, I think it's 50-50. Because he was holding off from signing a new contract all last season, and a player with his ambition, you would think that he wants to see trophies and win trophies and see progress. Or by winning the Europa League and seeing Frank come in, that's progress. Again, does he think it's progress? Does he think it's enough? If he goes, I think you put Danso straight in, and I'm interested to see how Vuskovic comes through, because he's played in two very good leagues so far. He's just turned 18. If he's another, Oyson from Brighton, if he's another player on that level, then he will be a regular in our team before too long. So do we need? You've got one of the best young kids in Europe at centre back coming in. So why block his path? Let's see if he's up to it. Let's see if he's up to it. So I mean, some of the highlights on him this season have been sensational. So let's have a look at him.
Can be interesting. By the way, everybody, Ben Jacobs has just tweeted out that Arsenal do have a genuine interest in Rodrigo of Real Madrid, and that Real Madrid will be willing to let him go for 90 million euros. So what's that, 80 million pounds, something like that? Something like that. So
75 million.
So let's keep an eye on that. If Arsenal get Gyökeres and Rodrigo, suddenly they're back in that title race, aren't they? So going to be interesting. Just keep an eye on that one. By the way, he's also said that Bino Gittins has told all other clubs he doesn't want to go anywhere. He only wants to go to Chelsea. There's also a picture flying around of Wirtz and Frimpong on holiday together. I don't know why that's important, but it is flying around. Nico Williams apparently is edging closer to joining Barcelona, and Bradley Barcola is the FC Bayern Munich top target for a left winger. So keep an eye. There's lots. I think we're going to see a lot of movement this year, guys. I think this is going to be the most expensive transfer window of all time. That's just I would say that that's a huge prediction, but it kind of makes sense with the inflation of transfer fees. Let's have a look at the next question. I'll big up to Gary Morton Barley, who has said our worst under Levy really expensive signing. Big up, Gary. Thank you very much for the super chat. My man out there, Morton Barley out in Ireland. The worst ever expensive signing under Daniel Levy's reign. Do you want to go or do you want me to kick off?
Are we talking about the worst buy based on performance, or are we looking at the worst buy based on ability?
Go for both if you want. There's no right or wrongs here.
In terms of the worst buy, probably on ability, we're talking about the higher prices that Spurs have paid. So, I mean, overall, the worst transfer deal they've done was in Ndombele, because with wages that cost them 106 million, and you saw a handful of decent games. And if the guy had got his, Danny, what are you smoking, mate? If the guy got his head right, he was world class. Some of the football in patches that we saw from him were just phenomenal. But it was just so rare in terms of the money spent on a player that you think, why did we spend that? I would probably say 36 million on Davinson Sanchez. I thought apart from one decent season, he was poor for the rest of the time. So there's your answer.
Yeah, I think there's a few for me.
Worst ever player I've seen at Spurs was Gregor Raziak.
Gregor Raziak. Wow. For me, I think for monetary, for most expensive, Ndombele has to go down. I think for me as well, it's the fact that we didn't sell him. It's the fact that he was there year after year after year, and every year was this manager can get the best out of him. This manager can. None of them picked him. None of them got a tune out of him. And for all the talent he had, he has to go down. As you watch, we paid, 55 million for him?
54, 54 and 52.5 million in wages.
Right. So we've paid over 105, 110 million for him.
52 million, 106 million.
106 million for him. And then didn't we have to pay 5 million to get rid of him, to pay off his
No, that was part of the...
So over 106 million. And let's be fair, I can remember a few goals he scored in his career at Tottenham. So that has to go down. Davinson Sanchez, absolutely. Lo Celso for me, if I'm brutally honest. I think Lo Celso's another one, made of broken biscuits. Again, kept him 5 years. Sanchez.
I must say, I like Lo Celso. He didn't play that much last season, but when he did play, I thought he was really effective. Problem with Lo Celso is he's made of glass. He was continually injured. If he wasn't injured, I think he'd have been a cracking player for us.
Yeah, listen, I don't mind Lo Celso. I just think that just answering the question in terms of I'm looking at, did we get the return for the money we paid? I mean, another one that people look, it's going to have to go down in that kind of bracket. You're right, Richarlison. At the moment, I'm putting Solanke in that bracket. I think that was a massive. It's early doors. He only had 1 year, but
yeah,
I think these are big fees for not very good footballers for me.
Well, 30 million, unfortunately, for Sessegnon.
30 million for Sessegnon.
I mean, what did we get from him because of injury?
He kept a fair few physios in a job, didn't he?
Didn't he? But
yeah, we've had a few. We've had a few. Look, for me, again, I just think I look at some of the money spent, like especially if you look at Richarlison and Solanke, we're talking about 110 million, something like that between the two of them in 3 years. We signed those two, didn't we? So we signed one the year before, 105. One the year before Kane, one the year after Kane. So in that 3 year period, we spent over 100 million.
Yeah.
And those two are the strikers that we got. It just, oh God, the scouting just so poor for me. So poor for us. And they did poor at the time. I remember we were all in a trance going, oh my God, this boy. Leon fans saying this guy is so skillful, but he's not there. He's not mentally with it. He's not, he's not a player that gives his all and all that kind of stuff. So lots of money going on there, saying and Ndombele was a mercenary. Paul Russell's chucked Christian Romero in there. No, he hasn't. Sorry, he hasn't. And Ndombele, Brian Hill, Soldado. Good evening to Gareth as well. Timothy Atuba. Yeah, but Timothy Atuba wasn't 60 odd million, was he? Yeah, absolutely, Mike. It showed us that we went in and we tried to appease the fans without really doing our homework, didn't we? As France go 4-1 up here against Poland. Good question. What did you guys think of Lamela?
Oh, funny, one of those players, another one, constantly injured, but everything was frenetic with Lamela. If you talk about really super players that glide, you could hit the ball at Gareth Bale, get the ball, control it, glide with it. Lamela always seemed like he was playing at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah,
and you saw flashes of real skill from Lamela, but again, he was out for 13 months with an injury. Again, I think that was a lot of that could have been down to treatment. He always seems to be injured, and he went as part of the Gill deal because it was 20 million plus Lamela for Gill, so the overall package was 40 million. And again, he never did it. He scored that great. He scored a couple of Rabonas, didn't he? I think he scored. Did he score one against Arsenal? He scored one in the Park Lane end. South Stand in a European match that was superb. So I mean, there were flashes of fantastic skill from Lamela, but for me, it didn't quite do it. Richie, I think, was 48. Slanky, I think, was 57. She got 105 million. So probably not.
Whatever
probably
it was 105 million too much.
Not the return you would hope to get for 105 million.
No. Why do I not rate Solanke? I'll say what I've said about him the whole time. Lubo knows my opinion. He's okay. He's okay. I just think that if as a scout, imagine we were scouts for Tottenham, me and Lubo, and somebody's turning around and goes, right, you've got 60 million to go and buy a striker. I'd be really disappointed if as a scout, the best I could come back with from the world of football was Dominic Solanke. I'd be really, really disappointed. I think he works hard. I've got no doubt about that. I think he's committed. I think he seems like a good guy. But I just think it's the Q word. It's the Q word, Lubo. It's the quality. I don't watch him. There's nothing. His touch, his control. There's nothing where I go quality. Every one of the strikers you had before, you go like Berbatov, just quality. He oozed quality. Defoe, quality finishing, movement.
We've been spoiled though. Huh? We have been spoiled for years.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Sure, but that's not the point. The point is that for £60 million, this was, for me, a really, really poor buy. I think there's a lot better that you can get out there for 60 million. And that's shown by a lot of the clubs around us not spending 60 million on players, and they've got really good goal scorers. So, look, for me, it's not that I don't hate him. Just for me, I don't want to be going into a Champions League campaign with Dominic Solanke as my number one striker. That's only for me. That's it. That's it for me. Where are we going with next? Where are we going next? So I'm going to go for another 5 minutes and then wrap it up. Glenn Oliver said, Lubo, should Spurs take part in the UEFA Conmebol Club Challenge? Do you know anything about this?
Don't think we can because of dates, because of availability. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. I've never been to South America. I'd love to go over there. So for me, yeah, definitely. That'd be a great excuse.
Interesting. Phil P. Can Frank get a tune out of Ndombele? He's probably still here. Ndombele. And listen, I think on a serious note, Phil, it goes back to what Lubo said. He was such a talented footballer, but he just couldn't apply. If he had the work rate that a Bergvall or a Bentancur has got in midfield, or a Basuma, he would have been one of the best midfielders we'd seen at White Hart Lane. But he didn't, and he wasn't. So that's how the cookie crumbles. Where are we? Do I remember Musa Saib? Of course I remember Musa Saib. Yes. Why? Did you like him? Yes. I remember him. Listen, I think there's a lot of players that I call them, Lubo, sometimes players. And that for me tells me that they're not top players. If I think they're a sometimes player, if I watch Lamella,
the word's called average.
I just like to call them sometimes. Sometimes I watch them and I go, yeah, you're good. Like Lamella. There were games where I watched Lamella and went, yeah, you've got something about you. And then there were lots of games where I went, oh, yeah, you're right, Lubo. Hectic. Everything at 100 miles per hour. Never has the ball quite under control. And then, like you said, you look at the quality players, the likes of Moussa Dembele, the Gareth Bales, always got the ball under control. They made it look easy. They did things at their own pace. So for me, that's how I look at it. Big up to Della Spurs, who said, do you give Frank another season if he gets 7th? Champions League quarterfinal, FA semi, but he declared the recruitment as perfect for me at this club. I don't. I mean, that's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. For me, I think you got to give Frank some time. I mean, Frank's coming into a mess. I don't think people are realising this, Lubo, how much of a mess this Tottenham starting team is in terms of no cohesion, no togetherness, no tactics. I think this guy needs time. I don't think we should be looking at this and going, he's got to do X, Y, Z. I think we've got to give him some time here.
Very much so. I think the first half of the season, there'll be some iffy results. I think you'll see after Christmas when the players have locked into what Frank wants from them and they're getting used to it. There'll be new players that have got to settle into the team as well. So first 3 or 4 months, again, will be difficult. Second 4 or 5 months, I think, will be very good. They'll be very good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So listen, thank you for the super chat. I mean, it's difficult. If he comes out and declares the recruitment is perfect for me at this club, I mean, I know what we're trying to do here. We're trying to pigeonhole managers as yes men and all this kind of stuff. I do think this yes man conversation is absolutely redundant. There are many managers across the world that will get players given to them that they may not have wanted as a first choice. It doesn't make them all yes men. I feel like this is something we're using now to just beat every manager that comes in. Conte would have had players he didn't want. That's life. Jose, same. Poch, the same. Nuno, Ange. Thomas Frank will have some that he's given as well. That's just the way it works, right, Lubo? No manager gets... I feel like a lot of... I've said this before. A lot of fans, when they say things like this, genuinely, and I'm not being arrogant here, Lubo, they genuinely don't understand how football clubs work. If they genuinely believe that every manager at every football club is getting 100% of the players they want, they're not understanding how football clubs work for the future, for the vision, for the directors of football. They're not getting it. It's too silly a thing to say for me.
Well, you've maybe got a couple of 2 or 3 clubs at the most who get the players they want.
Sure.
And that's it. I mean, a good example of this whole thing about being a yes man. I'm seeing loads of stuff on social media about Frank with Tell. Frank wasn't there when that deal with Tell was made. And if Levy wants to pull that deal through because because there's money there from Bayern, so instead of getting the money early, or waiting for the money, he's got Tell. There's no way for me. Why would anybody spend 45 million or 35 million euros, because the 10 million euros was done in Jan? But why would anybody spend that money when there's so many players, there's so many gaps in the first 11 that need filling, and there's only so much money? You know, Spurs have got massive debts. I think people can't forget that. They owe 682 on the grounds. They owe close on 300 million on players. You know, or maybe it's gone down a bit, but it's still a lot of money. So Spurs don't have unlimited funds to buy players with. So It doesn't make sense that Frank would say, yeah, great, okay, funds are not unlimited. I'm going to spend 35 million on Tell. It doesn't make sense at all. That is a Levy signing, 100%. It wasn't even an Ange signing. That's a Levy signing.
But do you know what's funny about this signing as well, Lubo? I'm seeing loads of people lately going, "Oh, it was Frank," right? And by the way, yes, it is just me. Yes, absolutely. Defoe and Lennon looked sharp the other night, didn't they? So last week or the week before, whenever it was, on the Monday, if we remember, so Ange got sacked on the Friday. And if I'm not wrong, on the Tuesday, didn't we do the kit launch?
Yes, we did.
And if you remember, during the kit launch, Odeber was there. Odeber, his kit number, his name on the back of the shirt was part of the kit launch. So all these people that are saying, "Oh, Frank signed it off," Ange hadn't been sacked until was there available to buy us our kit for next season. So I don't think this is Frank at all. I do think this is a club signing, but all of this, oh, Frank must have signed. I see people yesterday blaming Ben Davis on Thomas Frank, and you're like, hang on, what do you mean? This was signed weeks ago. He only agreed last week. I do think everyone's now just trying to bash Thomas Frank for no reason. Find it really silly. I really don't understand why we're doing it, Lubo.
Well, it's all the fans that are still upset that Ange got sacked.
Sure, but it's just crazy. Like, they're knocking him.
They're knocking him. They support the team, not the manager.
Yeah, they're knocking him, and I don't know what he's done. A couple more comments. Danny Taylor said, rate these in order: Dembele, Modric, Hoddle, Gaza.
From left to right, 4, 3, 1, and 2.
Oh, I see what you mean. So Dembele last, Modric third, Hoddle first, Gaza second.
Yeah.
God, look at the centre mids we used to have. Look at the quality across that four. Big up to you. Adam Phillips said, Steed Malbronk or Clint Dempsey? There's a good one. Steed or Clint?
Malbronk did more for me. Dempsey was okay. I remember he did well at United in one game, particularly. But for me, Malbronk was more consistent during the games and probably performed better during the games he played.
Yeah, I liked Steve Malbronk. I think Clint Dempsey was a good goal scorer, wasn't he? He was an unorthodox player. Why did you ask to come up then if you want to get down? Why did you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Why did you? What? Stanley, what? Okay, you want to cuddle. It's too hot to cuddle, mate. It's too hot to cuddle. He's so needy. He is so needy. Wait for mummy to come in. She'll cuddle you all night. Yeah, Steve Malbronk. Darren said, Savva Lubo. I love this. Let's not kid ourselves. We break players at Spurs. Soldado, a perfect example. He scored 59 goals at Valencia. We get him, play him out of position, and he's a flop. Faults. Bang on.
Great point. Very simple with Soldado. Soldado scored plenty of goals at Valencia. Had two wingers who went wide and pulled the ball back. When Soldado joined Spurs, he played Lennon on the left, right-footed. He played Townsend on the right, who was left-footed. They both cut in. They didn't stretch the defence. They closed the space for Soldado, and it just didn't work. As it happens, it was a blessing in disguise because that gave Kane his opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Soldado, for me, as I said, he played in a 4-4-2 at Valencia. He was the archetypal little man that played with a big man, and he was the finisher. Comes to Spurs, we're getting him running channels. Chelsea did it with Shevchenko, one of the most deadly strikers in the world. They've got him playing in a one up top, asking him to hold the ball up. I want Shevchenko doing one thing. I want him getting chances and putting the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the Ange cult is still crying. It's mad. I think they've just got to give the new manager a chance. Yes, he's cute when he's not licking my ear for about an hour. I'm going to leave it there. Yes, AVB did want Hulk. God, the Hulk.
Yeah.
Remember the Hulk? He was a big boy, wasn't he? Hence the name.
Another one we missed. There you go.
Yeah, Hulk. Didn't he want Hulk and Matinho?
Well, Matinho, they messed about, and in the end, they missed the transfer deadline by 4 minutes with Matinho.
There we go. That's Spurs. I mean, guys and girls.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. So I'm being sent messages. I'm just checking to see if anyone sent me anything. Right, guys, girls, thank you very much for your time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Love these shows. We'll be back next week. And no one can forget Demal. Every manager wanted Demal for about 15 seasons. Don't worry about that one. Look, Lubo, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Lots going on. I think we're going to start to see. Oh, hang on. Oh, it must be closing time. Look at the light. Oh, hang on. Stanley has stepped on the light. There we go. Thank you very much, everyone. Listen, I will be back. I might cancel tonight's show, actually. It's a bit hot and I feel like I need a night off. So I might cancel tonight's show. But much love to each and every one of you. I'll be back tomorrow for a morning show with Savva, where we'll be able to talk about the Daniel Levy comments in more detail. But much love. Take care. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribers. Thank you, most importantly, to Lubo. Anything you want to say, Lubo, before we wrap up?
No, fixtures come out tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Don't forget.
Right. So tomorrow morning show, we'll talk about the fixtures, and Daniel Lee will see which teams we're going to be beating on our route to the Premier League title. Lubo, you're more than welcome to join, as are others. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs. And what is it tomorrow, guys? Who didn't remind me? Daddy did. Bin day. Take care, everyone. See you later. Come on, you Spurs.